So they're just gonna roll out of here with that on top. I don't know, but it's funny. I just got the truck pretty much packed up. The good thing is we do not need a trailer for this trip, but it's still going to be an extremely interesting trip. Just got to finish up the interior walls and going to go ahead and hook up these 4 6-volt AGM batteries. These things were like $200 a freaking piece, so that should be very interesting. It should give us a whole nice big old battery bank so that we can run our stuff all night. That is the plan. So, and we're also going to be going ahead and putting in this wood stove, and the wood stove's already there. That was like one of the first things we freaking took, but that should be interesting as well. And I mean, the way we're going to do it, it'll, you know, if somebody's going to put in wood stove, just definitely give them a couple pointers. Back here, just a whole lot of wood stove stuff. I mean, piecing together that freaking wood stove is almost like piecing together freaking Legos or something like that, except for there's no instructions because every house is different. Okay, so what I got here also is it's a pump and an accumulator tank, and the other one crapped out on me. If you watch the last video, it'll go ahead and get into that, but I'll go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and install this thing as well. And my wind generator got here just in time, so we'll go ahead and see what's going on with that. And I'm going to go ahead and take up this small inverter also, just so I have two, because I'm going to have 2 battery banks now. All right, so we just pulled up, and the second we got out of the freaking vehicle, we encountered this.
Yeah, literally the first thing I saw was this stick bug. What it did was just shed its exoskeleton so it can grow. They can't just grow normal.
Okay, I'm offloading the truck, getting tools out, and getting all this chimney stuff together, because I'm going to go ahead and build a chimney and go ahead and install the wood stove. So that's just like part of the wood stove stuff there. So this, go ahead and check out this stick thing. It is gone now. It's shedded, and it's no longer there. It's just, there's no remnants of it whatsoever. So, all right, score for Bauer. I left this thing out here on this tree for probably, it's been well over a week, and it's been raining and everything else. And check this out, even the freaking light works. So score for Bauer. Right, a lot of the consideration for this door arrangement here was air circulation, so I can get all the air refreshed in this house. And here's an example real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the vape. And it goes right out that door. See, this door here is the negative airflow, and that's the positive airflow. So all the air in this whole entire house will kind of rise up here because this is the highest point, and then go ahead and exit. So everything will constantly be refreshed. This door, where I'm expecting most of my negative airflow to come from, is facing southwest. And this door, where I'm expecting the positive airflow to exit, is facing northeast.
My stick bug, his name is Leonard. See him? Isn't he neat?
So here is my chimney parts list for this here application. Okay, right here, when it comes out, I'm just going to use the one that came with it. And that just goes on there. And then what's going to happen is, it's going to go ahead and it's going to connect to this T right here from that. And then I had to buy this bottom cap right here. And then what's going to happen is, it's going to come like that. And then it's going to connect to this stove wall, which is right here, stovepipe. That's just regular stovepipe, non-insulated. And then it's going to connect to some more of that, and this stuff comes like this, and you got to kind of pop it together. It's pretty easy to figure out. I got way too much of that, but better safe than sorry. And then on that one, the first one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this flue in there. And then what happens is, you go into the double wall part, and you need that to actually go through the ceiling and the roof so that it's safe. And you got to keep all this stuff. You got to look at all your spacing requirements and everything, because every application is going to be slightly different. But before that goes on, when you're going from transferring from this to that, you got to get one of these right here. It's a chimney to stovepipe adapter. And Then on the top of that right there, what I'm going to put on, and that's going to be outside of the roof, mind you, is this deal. Let's see if I can find it in English. Rain cap. So I mean, it's, you know, and also I got some, just got some extra hose clamps. Got this for securing it up on the beams, and I got these as well, so that I can put one on the bottom on the ceiling and one on the top on the roof. One of them's real thick and one of them's a little bit thinner. I just got done drilling a hole up through the ceiling, and I don't have a compass, so I had to make one. So I'm gonna go up on the roof and go ahead and just put this in the hole I drilled and go right around so I can get my proper measurement to go ahead and cut my hole. Alright guys, now while my wife is in the grocery store, I'm going ahead and stealth camping! Yeah! Alright, here's my super awesome stealth camping setup. I got this 6-foot area to lay. I got these pillows we just got at Dollar General. Got this water. Got these toolboxes. Got this jumper kit. Gasoline. And yeah, ready to roll! Okay, so has anyone really looked at the Family Dollar like logo deal? Like, what is going on here? Like, is it just me, or is their little logo thing like kind of creepy? Like, that thing's creeping me out. I'm sitting there and I'm, you know, I'm doing a little bit of stealth camping. I noticed that emblem, and that's a creepy freaking emblem. I don't know why it's so creepy, but that thing's freaking creepy. This really takes me back though, for real, because like when we first started building this freaking shack, like we didn't have anywhere to sleep while we were building because it's so far away. I mean, the only economical sense it would make would be to sleep in the freaking vehicle. So that's what we did, and it was winter time, and I mean, you'd only sleep like 2 hours maybe. And I mean, the whole time, if I wasn't sleeping, all I was doing was just building. If it didn't matter if it was snowing, nighttime, raining, it didn't matter. I just freaking build because we had to have somewhere better to stay. So I built that bathroom, and I mean, it's all in the other videos that are connected with this. I mean, that whole entire freaking build is all documented on this channel.
You think it's afternoon nap time or something?
Could you see me in here?
Yeah, not till I got like real close. Bet you're glad I bought those pillows, huh?
You know what I'm doing?
Resting?
Stealth camping!
Move so I can put the groceries in the truck. You're not funny.
Alright, so putting the damper on here, what you do is you gotta drill a hole on this side, and then drill another one on this side, and you gotta make sure everything is the same height from here to here, and from here to here. And then you also gotta make sure that, I mean, you can either measure around here to make sure on each side to make sure that's the same, or you can just go ahead and put it in there and measure down to make sure that this length from there to there is the same as from there to there. Or you can just pop it through and just hit it over here and put a dent and then just drill that way. But basically, you gotta pull the damper pin out and then put the actual damper in there and then feed it on through. Like so. See how that is? And see that little divot right there? Just got to keep messing with it until you get it there. And then this spring here will hold it. And it works like so. Alright, a couple tricks here. Clamps are your friends. I mean, you can get it on, get the pieces together, and get them apart real easy. So I started up top and then worked down. And clamps just make everything just so much smoother. And also, a soapstone is real important for this because it's just hard to see your marks on it. And if you need to make a circular cut, which I did, you just have to measure down from the top, put a mark on this side, one on this side, next piece of paper, and then go ahead and go around there with your soapstone. And then what I did is I just used my grinder to go ahead and angle grinder to go ahead and cut it down a little bit. Alright, just more or less have the wood stove installed. Just have to put a whole bunch of metal against that wall and on the floor. Got to concrete the floor and some more stuff. But yeah, she's ready. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some wood in there and fire her up. And that Sandiest is labeled my toolbox.
This stuff, and I drew some little flowers.
Oh.
See? Stuff.
Oh. Alright, I have been waiting for this moment since we bought this place over 6 months ago. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and check the pipe for everything should be good. And then we'll go ahead and go outside and watch the smoke come out the top. Well, as Sandy S's is making up some soup, and still got the test going on with the new wood stove, or the old, very old wood stove that's I just installed, and it's holding real good right there, as you can see. And everything feels good. Not a lot of no hot spots on any of the wood or anything like that. And then out this window, what we got going on is another fire out there. And this is a Fisher Mama Bear wood stove. I'm pretty familiar with it. I got oak in it right now, white oak. And what I did basically is I just went ahead and got her stocked up and rolling pretty good until it started getting into the yellow up there. And I just did that by closing both these vents and just leaving it like that to get it going. And then after it got going, I opened them one turn each. See, there's closed. Opened them one turn each. See, there's closed. Opened it one turn, and then went ahead and shut it down. I talked about this in my last video, but I was a little bit worried that the wood stove installation would mess it up, but no, it did not. So I'm really happy about that. But that's what that is right there. See, all it is the sunlight coming through that window right there in the morning. So glad that's still in good shape. And it is about 50 degrees outside. And what do you think? How'd that wood stove fare?
Just fine. It warmed up the place. It wasn't that cold at all.
And that was me not even stocking it. I mean, I literally probably put, and that's white oak again. And I mean, I literally probably put 6 sticks in there. They were pretty nice sized sticks, but I mean, that's all it had. And it's still radiating heat like crazy. So, I mean, that's freaking awesome. That thing works great. All right, so all I'm doing this morning is just going ahead and installing this thing. I talked about it earlier. It is a 8-liter pump accumulator pressure boot system. So basically it's made by Seaflow. And this is pretty much what it is. Put this little filter on here, and then hook my water supply in here, and then it exits right here with pressure. So, and hopefully it won't do all the cycling and everything, and talked about it a little bit in the last video and a little bit earlier as well. All right, super thrilled with this now. I went ahead and I just put the switch down here because I don't really use that too often, and that's just an on-off switch, and it just goes between the negative terminal. You just put it in there and all it does is block the flow, so it's not grounded anymore. All right, so basically got this thing hooked up now. All I did is take the old one off that was up there and brought it down here. And I mean, basically it's a water pressure system, and I just tried it out for the first time, and no more cycling, none of that other nonsense. It's just like a freaking regular old bathroom. It's great. Everything works good. Everything's all hooked up now. I got to go ahead and just secure the wiring, but for the most part she is ready to roll now, and works great. All right, reaction. Wash your dirty little plant hands.
The dirty little plant hands. They're pretty dirty, aren't they?
Uh-huh.
Oh man, look at that thing. Ooh! That's exciting. Where's my soap?
Alright, so I'm not even going to get into this too terribly much. I mean, I could dedicate an entire channel to this stuff, but basically what I just did here, I mean, I know it looks crazy, and this is just temporary. It's not going to be here, but I promise when I put it into its permanent home, I will go ahead and do exclusive videos to this stuff. So basically what I just did here is I just connected 4 batteries together. They're 6-volt batteries. They're really good AGM batteries. I mean, there's $800 worth of freaking batteries sitting there. So I've got 400 amp hours at 20 amp hours of power, and I mean that is a lot of freaking power. So right now I'm giving them their first charge. You should charge each one individually with a 6-volt charger, and again these are 6-volt batteries each, and I got them connected in series and parallel. And again, this stuff is really, like I said, I could do a whole freaking channel on this stuff. I will do some in-depth videos on it at a later time because I'm going to be connecting solar and wind and all that stuff. But for right now, I'm just charging them with the generator, and I got that on. I'm charging them right now.
What are you doing now? What are you doing?
I'm finishing up the shelf.
Oh, this nice shelf that you have here? From scrap lumber?
I told you I bought all this lumber specifically for this. I'm not just using scrap lumber.
So what is all this nonsense here? What is that? You bought lumber that said that on it?
Alright, and what the heck do you think that you're doing?
I just made this toilet seat out of scrap lumber and metal that I got from the junk pile. Check it out. Definitely went up to your shelf. Stained it and everything.
So then what the heck is that?
Nothing.
All this whole entire battery bank is completely charged up. Got this place running on just purely battery power for right now. Alright, so we've been running these 2 fans for all day off this battery bank, and everything's been good. And what SNDS just did is she just turned on the burner, and how's everything seem?
Fine. I mean, this is up on as hot as it can go.
Also got these 2 things charged, and they've been charging all day because I've been running tools and stuff. And I'm touching these. It's a 5,000 watt inverter. It's not hot. No heat. So really happy with this. Alright, we've got our Bobcat. That's Sandy S's. She came in and told me that the Bobcat was nearby. She heard it real close down the mountain in this direction. I'm facing west right now. So I guess that's where he is. That's kind of where I heard him. He came up here when I was working last time we were up here, and like came like right around here, and because I was in there working. So he's somewhere down here. See if we can't hear him. There it was. SNDS said it was further away. So what kind of a shower did you just take?
A battery powered shower.
So the battery bank's been running for well over 24 hours now. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off and go ahead and recharge it now. Just because it's good for the batteries not to let them run all the way down. It's still got plenty of life left according to my gauge of how many amp hours I have left. But it's still just good. I'm just going to go ahead and do it on like a 24-hour rotation. Just run them for 24 hours and then just charge them till they charge up, and then run them for 24 hours and then charge them till they charge up. So I've got this on the charger and I got the multimeter hooked up, and I'm gonna go ahead and check the volt, see how far it actually took it down here. And it took it down to 11.43. I just connected the charger. It's charging now, so that's not too bad. This is early on. See, the plan is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in a 24 volt inverter, and I'm going to have a 24 volt battery system, just real quick and simply because, and I'm not going to get into this too deep, like I said before, I could do a whole freaking channel on this stuff. I mean, I've learned so much, it's ridiculous. Alright, so basically I want to have 8 of these batteries as well instead of 4, and I'll just run similar to this, but basically I'll double everything, and I'm not going to sit around and try to explain the wires and all that stuff, but I'll also want to go ahead and shorten all these cables because these are all 3 foot. But I mean, with a 24 volt system, I can still have a pretty big system with a large inverter, and I can use this same exact size cable. I mean, right here I'm kind of pushing it a little bit. I mean, that sounds crazy. This stuff is thick, it's 2.0, and I really should have thicker cable and shorter cables, and this is early on, but it's working right now, and I'll eventually get up to that. And I want to make sure that I also have a pure sine wave inverter, even though there's no such thing as a true pure sine wave from the research I've done, it's definitely the way to go as far as power and all these electronics and what have you. This here is just a modified sine wave inverter. And so far it's been good, but I mean, over time it can mess up the components of like the microprocessors and what have you, and all of your electronics. And also broke down and bought some real thick 10 gauge extension cords as well. Like we used last night, I went ahead and plugged in the water heater with this 10 gauge cord straight from the inverter. If you're in a pinch and you need to wash clothes, all you need is a 5-gallon bucket and a clean toilet plunger. So for this test, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to run this fan essentially off of this solar panel, and I'm going to run it like that for an hour. It's running through that inverter, and I'm going to keep the camera on this voltmeter the whole time that it's running to see how it keeps up. It's not going to keep up obviously because it's only a 10-watt panel. The last video I did was about this solar panel, so you might want to check that out. I mean, the results on that are kind of and it was real iffy, but I actually have a voltmeter and everything this time. So we're going to actually see. And here's the sun conditions today. It's pretty overcast, as you can see. The sun's up there. I mean, the panel does have direct access to the sun, as you can see. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and pop this fan on, and then I'm going to set up this camera so that it can read the voltmeter to see how it draws for 1 hour exactly. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the fan and the inverter off and see how much it recharges the battery. Right now the battery is charged. So let's go ahead and pop all this stuff on, and the second I pop it on, I'm going to go ahead and leave it on this so that you can look at that, see what happens there. So inverter on, okay, see what kind of power just that's drawing. And now I'm going to turn the fan all the way up. So that's running right now. And of course it's dropping slowly, even though the solar panels are hooked up, but I'm going to let it run like that for an hour. Okay, it's been exactly 1 hour. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and kill the power to the inverter and the fan. They turned off and it jumped up to 1180 and rising. All right, now with the fan off and the inverter off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit here and charge for an hour and see what it does. So that concludes stage 2 of this 3-stage test we're doing here. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to disconnect the solar panels. And then just connect the fan to the battery and see what the rate of rundown is on the multimeter with the fan running and the solar panel not connected. Well, that concludes that test. I'll go ahead and run the numbers and crunch them and see what the heck I can make out of them. There's a lot of information there, and I'll put little captions and stuff about the findings, so you'll see those as that stuff is being displayed in the time lapse. And while I was doing all that testing, all of the rough carpentry in this whole entire freaking place, we're talking 6 months, over 6 months in the making, is done. I mean, all the rough carpentry is done as far as everything. Now all it is just finish work and painting and building, like, you know, decks and stuff like that. I'm eventually going to put a room out here, a laundry room and stuff like that, but this whole freaking thing is complete now. It's freaking crazy. It's got to caulk and start caulking and painting tomorrow, starting this room or this area, and then move to this one. And it was harder, and it actually took longer, and it'll probably even cost more because of all the caulk, but I went ahead just to be environmentally friendly. Tried to use all my scraps for all this stuff and a whole bunch of other places. I went ahead and, I mean, it would have been, you know, a whole lot easier and cheaper, etc. if I just went ahead and bought the pieces and made more scrap, but just trying to be environmentally friendly and using up all the scrap pieces, so that worked out good.
Big rock I just dug up.
Wow.
That's a big rock.
So I'm going ahead and I'm gonna at least try to put this thing together tonight, and we'll see what happens. It's the windmill I got. It's supposedly a 5,000 watt windmill, so I'm going to put it together and put it up. Pack this thing and more or less put it together, and it doesn't have enough electric wire and it has no base, and so I'm in the process of building a base right now, which is actually not going to be very easy. But that's what it looks like right there. It's like 40 inches across from tip to tip. And there's just these 3 wires that come out of here, and there's no labels or nothing to them. I had to make those longer, and then this junky little charge controller. I'm just going to use this thing for my practice batteries that I started with out here, just to test it out and figure out what the heck's going on and stuff. And I guess you just put them wherever in these 3 cables. I don't know, there's no labels. I mean, I guess this one goes to the negative and the positive to charge your batteries or whatever. We'll see. I'm just going to hook it up to the, my practice starter batteries that I started out here with, and try to figure out as I go along. Here are the instructions, clearly written by somebody who doesn't know much about English. I mean, some of the stuff on here is just ridiculous. Like, it's the wrong freaking windmill in the pictures. I mean, this is... Well, I don't really have all this stuff to mess with the windmill, so I'm messing with this big TV now, setting that up in here. So I'm back working on this windmill. I just want to get it mounted real quick, and I had to go ahead and make a base plate for it because it's just freaking weird trying to, without the exact proper thing, trying to mount it and everything. I mean, you really got to do a whole lot of figuring. Like, they don't make it real user friendly at all. So I made this base plate just out of a piece of, had to cut it out of a piece of steel, and it's very thick steel, pretty thick steel. Here's what I got going on here so far. I'm just getting ready to put this 2x4 up on there as far as mounting this thing, which is the stuff I had available. So this is the whack nonsense I came up with here. It is a 2x4. The 2x4 is going to get bolted to the roof deck on. I got a place for it up there I'm going to bolt it to. And so yeah, this is what I came up with. And I'm going to go ahead and put the charge controller like down here or something. And I just it's kind of connected. That's only on there with 2 freaking screws. I mean, you almost have to have messed with one of these to kind of know what you're looking at and how weird this stuff is, but it's weird and it's kind of hard to do, and it's a little bit complicated. But I fiberglassed the heck out of everything, and it's pressure treated lumber, and I mean, hopefully it works. So I've got the windmill mounted up, and I've got it all hooked up. I have not hooked it to the battery yet. We got a little bit of wind, but not enough to get it going yet. I still have to make sure that it's right. I mean, there's my mounting deal right there. I glassed everything, etc. These 3 things, I guess it's a 3-phase motor coming out of it that runs the rest of it, and I don't know if it, I just got it hooked in this charge controller, and then 2 leads coming out of it that I'm getting ready to hook to this battery. All right, what I got going on here is I've got some screen mirroring coming from my cell phone into this television, and it just runs from the Type-C cable to the HDMI to the back of the television, and it just mirrors whatever is on your cell phone. Now, I just like to do that instead of using a computer and tethering, because it's just so much cheaper as far as data is concerned. I have unlimited data on my cell phone. I do not have unlimited hotspot data. So we got winds that are pushing 5 miles per hour, and that thing has not moved at all. It needs to be higher. It needs less trees in front of it. I mean, I wanted to go ahead and test it. I'm sure it would work on really windy days, but I'm just going to go ahead and focus on solar and go ahead and do something else with that, I guess. I mean, so that's a bust right there. All right, so what I'm doing right now is I'm putting on the soffit. Right now for this DeWalt 20 volt max XR brushless circular saw, cordless, I only got a 4 amp hour battery on there, and I've been out here doing freaking rip cuts, long rip cuts on 8-foot long 2x8s. So I mean, that's pretty serious. I got 2 cuts out of this battery so far. I mean, I'm really happy with that. I didn't think I'd get that much out of it. All right, I got all the soffit up, as you can see there, on both sides, and I was just getting ready to go up here and go ahead and take this windmill down, because I was like, man, this thing isn't gonna work. And the freaking wind blew and it started moving, and I already had the battery disconnected and everything. So I was like, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and keep it. And I went ahead and researched it. And the fall, winter, and spring are the windiest months. So, I mean, it's just like the worst time to be trying to see if a windmill works or not. So I guess we'll go ahead and leave that up there, and I'll go ahead and keep it. It's pretty cool anyway. And then not to mention also, I won't have as much sun during the fall, winter, and spring, so the solar panels will be a little less effective, so it'll kind of work out. Hopefully I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. I guess we'll go ahead and see how it works. It'll be fun to play with. I mean, I saw that it actually moved, the wind moved it, couldn't have been blowing that hard. I mean, we got all these trees and everything, but it did freaking move. And there's our stick bug friend, Leonard. I don't know if it's the same one or not, but I've been seeing one all up on the house, all over the place. So maybe it's the same one, I don't know. But there he is. I had to work around him when I was putting on the soffit. And I do know that this thing needs to be significantly higher than this because, I mean, all these trees and everything in the way. I mean, it's pretty high up here. We're probably 20 or more feet above the ground. We're on top of a mountain, and I'm planning on taking down the trees facing west, which is primarily where the wind comes from and the way I'm facing right now. Because we're on top of a mountain, and there's no mountains in that direction. And it's just a beautiful view. So it's going to be a beautiful view down in the valley once I take those trees out. So there'll be more wind coming up here anyway. Alright, and as Sandy S's is painting in here. I went ahead and I finished up all the caulking, so she is just painting this room, just in this half of the room, and then we're going to go ahead and roll out. So,
thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.